Okay, my crypto market predictions. I'm in this market every single day, hacking growth for projects of all shapes and sizes. And I have a side look into how this industry really works. So I might have a different crypto market prediction than what anyone else has on this platform. I'm not one of these dudes on YouTube that's trade this, buy this, invest in this. I'm on the inside, right? I'm working with these projects and I have a really good understanding of where this industry is currently at. So I want to make my predictions based on that. And that's why I think that this video might be valuable, because I'm probably going to give you a different point of view than others will when they do their predictions. So anyway, let's just get into it. So the first thing I want to clarify is that my predictions pretty much two parts. The first part is what we're going to experience now, and then the second part is my predictions for what happens after. So the first thing is, yes, I think we're going to pump. We've been in this market cycle for a while now. I think we need to see the end of this cycle. So there's many different factors as to why I think we are going to see appreciation in the markets. Let's go through some of the reasons now. And then after I have covered this section, I'm going to try and tell you what I think is next. So firstly, macroeconomic conditions, if they improve, which I think they will, then the market will generally improve. It's going to be a better environment for risk on assets. And we've seen in the last week, one trade deal done with the UK from a US standpoint, and the market starts to fly. So if we continually see that over the next few months, different trade deals being done, and Trump really starting to get a handle on the US economy and how that impacts the global economy, then we're in a better condition to be able to send. And I feel that that is such a huge part of the end of this cycle, having that macroeconomic stability and growth. The next reason why Trump's very heavy on crypto, he wants it to do well. And I think when you have someone of great power that has the same incentive as you, hopefully that incentive will come to fruition. Obviously, he has World Liberty Financial. They buy all sorts of crypto assets and they need the crypto assets to succeed. So trying to create favorable environments to enable that to happen is a big thing. And I feel like we can't really say, oh, we're going to pump without mentioning the importance of that. The next thing is the current market. We have been thinking we're in a bull market for the last 18 months or so. It's a very prolonged market, but again, it's about the belief that everyone else has in the market. I think a lot of retail players are waiting for this kind of last part of the cycle and will come in and deploy fresh liquidity. So having that belief around where the market is and what might next happen will give us a kick on. So that's another reason why. Another reason, institutional inflows. The inflows into Bitcoin are nearly at $40 billion. Hopefully we see some institutional rotation into the likes of Ethereum. The normal market cycle is Bitcoin goes, and then we cycle into the bigger alts, and then we cycle into the smaller alts. If we have that, but with institutional inflows flowing into Bitcoin and then the alternative alts, obviously we're not going to go to the really low alts because they don't have products to be able to invest in those. But if we start getting institutional inflows into the likes of Ethereum, maybe things like Solana, XRP, and so on, then it's just more liquidity coming into the market. And finally, retail inflows, $16 billion being reimbursed by FTX. And again, if you see some of that start spreading across the market, we're going to see good conditions. And then that's going to make anyone who's sitting on stables feel like, oh shit, I need to get in now. This last part of the market cycle is happening. So inflows like this alone don't do anything. But when the common belief is we have this end of the cycle and there's people waiting for that, then it can obviously lead to FOMO, which is such a huge part of this market. So yeah, there's just a few reasons as to why I think we're going to get this last part of the market cycle and this pump. I don't know how long that pump's going to last and when we're really going to see the extent of it. I don't think it will be as big as maybe some people anticipate personally, based on just the crypto industry and being in it every single day. I can make a whole nother video on why I don't think it's going to be as big as people think. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments. That's my first prediction. In terms of timelines, crypto is so unpredictable. It's very, very hard to predict. the logical sense was we'd move slow through summer, most markets do, and then end of this year we'd have the last bit of that cycle. However, in the last week or two, things have started to pump. So whether things just continue pumping now, and then that's all we get, and then things just slow down and that's it, or whether we start to slow down in the next week or two, we're slow through summer, then we get the pump at the end of the year. Who knows? I can't predict. I don't have a magic crystal ball, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my first part of this video. The second part is what happens after this market cycle. So this is where me being in growth, I think I can really provide value and insight. I think that after this market cycle ends, we're gonna have a huge rebuild in crypto. There's so much stuff that needs to come into the market because the market right now is unsustainable. There's misalignment in incentives, i.e. people come into crypto and they can just extract money from the industry without providing any value. The way that tokens are issued and built, completely unsustainable. Way too many tokens are driven purely by speculation and not by demand and buying pressure that's needed based on utility and use case. We need the crypto frameworks to come in place from a legal perspective, a regulatory perspective, which I think we're going to see in the next year or two. Just being in crypto full time, I really do see how unsustainable this market currently is. And that's why we need a rebuild. Many tokens, if I'm going to make a harsh prediction, I think many tokens will, after this cycle, slowly die and not come back, because there might be a gap between this cycle and the next cycle, and a lot of projects won't survive that. And again, there needs to be a reinvention on, like I said, the frameworks of how crypto companies are built, whether that's from a token standpoint, whether that's from a regulatory standpoint. There needs to be a rebuild here because what we're currently doing just isn't sustainable. On top of that, when we look at inflows into the market, we are starting to move quite heavy on the institutional front. And institutions are obviously going to support the top end of the market. So the likes of Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and then other big coins as well, within kind of the top 10. So I still think we're going to see inflows, but into a very select number of altcoins. And the rest of the market is going to really struggle because they're going to be relying solely on retail inflows. And I don't see where more retail inflow comes from, personally. I just don't. I think that this market is mature in a way where a lot of people that wanted to dabble in crypto have dabbled. And I don't see where we all of a sudden just get all of this new retail money coming in. I think retail money will go in potentially through institutions that they're investing into that are then buying the top end of this market, not so much the rest of the market. And there is so many tokens now. There's so many options, it's unsustainable. There's way too much dispersion in liquidity that smaller altcoins that launch are really going to struggle because they can't create a liquid market, because they can't bring in the retail buying pressure. And a lot of the liquidity will go to the top end of the market, which will be institutional dominant. At Magnet right now, we're working on frameworks for how to grow crypto projects sustainably. Obviously, the first invention was the Magnet method, which became a best-selling book on Amazon. And we're working on some other stuff right now, new growth frameworks and models for crypto projects, so that when we navigate out of this current cycle and we have this major rebuild in crypto, we want to be a part of making that happen. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to talk a lot about this sort of stuff. Obviously right now the focus is the current market, but you need to be able to look ahead at what might happen after, because that's going to influence your decisions now. And the one thing I'll leave you on is that if you do want to take full advantage of the last part of this cycle, don't just sit there and invest in some coins. Get into the business side of crypto, because that's where the majority of people are making money in crypto. If we have this cycle, this last part of the cycle, maybe 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, you want to do as well for yourself as you possibly can. And simply only seeing one side of the industry doesn't make any logical sense if you really want to maximize the return that you can get out of this space. So in my bio, I'm going to leave a video, which is a free training, completely free. It's going to show you how to basically get into the business side of crypto. I've created a completely free training. It's going to show you my 3-step crypto launch system, showing anyone who isn't in the business side of crypto how to get into the business side of crypto and how to do it in the right way, because this stuff doesn't have to take a lot of time. Within the next 20-30 days, if you locked in, you could be well and truly in the business side of crypto, creating your own project or business and Then you've got how you're currently benefiting from crypto, and then this new vehicle as well, ready to take advantage of this market cycle. So I would say that focus on this current, how you can get as much value as possible, and you have to be in the business side as well. That's all I'm going to say to you. So videos in the bio if you want it. And other than that, I'm done with this video. I'm hoping there's been some good insight for you, and I'll see you on the next one.